broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Extreme Health Radio. This is Tristan Truscott, co-creator of the Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong with my dear friend and partner, Peter Ragnar. And it's awesome to be on the show with everybody.
It's always like a dance studio in here with you, isn't it?
Yeah. With me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Every time you hear that music, you're always just...
Anytime I hear a drum, you can't stop me.
I like to see you on the dance floor with that kind of music.
Yeah, well, it might have to be a little bit more house music for me to really get into it.
It's not really good, conducive dance music, is it?
No, but I love it.
That's hilarious. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is Justin and Kate. This is Extreme Health Radio, and... let's see, we're actually starting on time for the second show in a row.
Can you believe it?
I think we're developing a pattern here.
21 days and we're good to go.
You never know what could happen, right?
We're back in action.
You could actually do your shows live.
Right?
For reference, this is January 30th, Thursday, 2014. And it's a cloudy, cold day here. Well, cold is relative.
Right.
Because today we're going to be talking with Rod Czlonka. And I think he might have a different definition of cold.
Maybe just a tiny bit.
Yeah, he's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Where it actually is really cold.
Yes.
A little different than our cloudy 60-degree weather here, right?
I think if you popped right up through the clouds, it would be sunny and blue. So it's just this coastal layer hanging around.
Oh, my gosh. We are so spoiled.
We're so blessed.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you'd like to join the show, there's lots of different ways to do that now. We have a brand new forum that you can join. It's free. You can't listen there live, but you can join the discussions about all the different health topics we talk about on the show, extremehealthradio.com/forum. You can join our Facebook community. We'd love to have you a part of that. Just follow us on there, click the like button, and then we also have the live show itself, which you can listen to at extremehealthradio.com/live, and you can ask your questions in the chat room if it's an interview like today. And if it's a Free-for-All Friday show, you can actually call up and talk to us. So please interact with us that way. That'd be a lot of fun. And let's see, this is episode 198, right? Is that right?
It is 198.
198. Getting close to 200. You like that math?
Yeah. Surprised you don't have the calculator out punching your numbers like you love to do.
I was 2 away from 200. And today we have Rod Czlonka on, and we had the honor of speaking with him back in, I believe, is November on episode number 172. And he's really a great guy, and it's just going to be a lot of fun talking with him today. For those that don't know his story, he was diagnosed with brain cancer at 41 years old in 2003, and was kind of living the high life in terms of the executive corporate life, and all of a sudden was diagnosed with brain cancer, and has written a couple books called Decide to Live and Surviving Cancer When Everyone Tells You It's Time to Die. Good gracious, everyone telling you it's time to die. Wow. Could you imagine?
No.
Could you imagine getting diagnosed with cancer and people around you telling you, it's time to die?
Oh, that's messed up.
That's, I don't
Great
know.
title, though. I mean, that really... And how many people really do believe that without even knowing that that's what they're being told? So,
Yeah.
In a random way, that's what they're getting.
He's also the author of another book called A State of Being, Healing Your Body and Your Life. And his website, if you're interested in that, is called healinghut.net. And so thanks a lot, Rod, for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me back.
No problem. And are you staying warm? That's the real question.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been so cold here. I mean, we've had unprecedented weather here. I'm talking like 45 below zero with the wind chill. In some areas even colder. It's crazy. I've been here 52 years. I've never experienced anything like this. So the weather is changing. Obviously not for the good if you live in the Midwest. But things are happening.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just speaking with someone the other day, one of our people we work with the saunas, and she's in Ohio, and she was talking about how it was 30 below there.
Oh.
I mean, it's just nuts. I can't even imagine. I bet you can't even walk outside with it being that cold.
No, I mean, yeah, I say I have this rule that says everything is 5 times harder in the wintertime anyway, and I think this makes it 10 times harder in the wintertime because any effort is painful.
Yeah, plus you guys get the wind chill factors too in Chicago, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, it cuts right through you, and you have to dress in layers, and even that, it's challenging.
Gosh.
Wow, that's amazing.
No thanks.
Yeah, so do you have to spend a lot of time outside in the winter, or can you spend, I'm sure, most of your time inside?
No, I spend a lot of time actually. I'm when I'm not writing books and giving interviews to guys like yourself. I'm actually a salesperson. I'm on the road and I sell electronic products, and so I'm outside all the time. So yeah, it's challenging.
My gosh! So do you eat a raw diet in Chicago in the winter, or do you kind of do different things in the wintertime?
Well, no, you try to eat smart as much as possible. A lot of green foods, a lot of proteins. I try to avoid carbohydrates whenever possible. I am not like a zealot when it comes to my diet, but I do try to use intelligence because carbohydrates and sugars are the thing that disease and cancer all feed on. So you try to avoid those whenever possible. Now, the challenge with that is those are fuels for the body. So you're trying to do things in an intelligent way where you don't have no carbs, but you have the appropriate amount of carbs so you don't bring on an acidic or sugary state in your body. Yeah, so it's a balancing act. I
imagine it would be difficult because you're trying to do, like you said, 2 different things. You're trying not to feed cancer, but the very thing that feeds cancer also feeds your energy.
Yes.
But with the wintertime, I know a lot of people, in the early 2000s when raw food was really big, they were, really finding it a challenge to be raw in the wintertime, especially in places where you live. And I think many people have kind of relaxed their stance on raw, but I imagine it would be very difficult to do 100% raw food in the winter because you can't be drinking cold smoothies when it's negative 45 outside,
No, but, I carry a water bottle with me to work, and I have alkaline water. I have an ionizer that produces alkaline water, and that helps. That helps a lot. If you eat things like almonds. Now, almonds are great because they're a good source of protein, and they're alkaline as well. So things like that really go a long way. So they're not very exciting or sexy, but they do help.
So I totally think almonds are sexy.
Okay. It's just me and you, then, Kate. Okay.
Totally, Rod. I don't know what everybody else is thinking about.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have an issue with, can you digest the skins of almonds yourself? Because I have a hard time with that.
I do. I have pretty much ironclad gullet. I would say I can eat most things. But yeah, almonds, no problem.
I was going to ask you, on your site, you have a lot of information about the alkaline water and stuff. We just got some alkaline water. We routinely get spring water straight from the spring in the ground, but then every now and then when we can't make it out to the spring, we'll go get the alkaline water. Why do you like the alkaline water so much?
Well, alkalinity does a few things. One, it raises the oxygen in your body, which is always a good thing, okay? The more alkaline you are, the better your body runs. Now, you can go to the other extreme. You can become too alkaline, but that's a lot harder to do because most of our diet, even though I try to eat good, and I'm sure you do as well, but most of our foods are acidic, okay? Most people are not eating greens and living off of salads and stuff like that. So acidity is the battle, and it's the battle every person in the United States faces. So I try to compensate by drinking alkaline water, eating alkaline foods when appropriate. But just to give you an idea, oxygen in your blood is critical to stopping disease. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, you have a pH scale in our body. It goes anywhere from 0 to 14, 14 being the most alkaline, obviously 0 or 1 being the most acidic. So you want to try to stay right in the center, like 7.1, 7.2. Now, our blood automatically modulates our pH of the blood, because if it varies by a point or two, you will die. So it has to do that. But just to give you an example, if your blood pH was like 7.45, it actually has 65.9% more oxygen than if your pH was 7.3. Now you say 7.3, 7.4, no big difference. It's a huge difference in regards to the amount of oxygen in your blood. And oxygen, when it comes to cancer, is everything.
Yeah, oxygen is everything. Have you heard of there's a lot of talk going around these days with MSM and how MSM is able to help really, really deliver more oxygen into the cells, probably similar to alkaline water. But do you take MSM?
I do not, and again, we get back to the conversation we had earlier. I try to experiment with a lot of these supplements and see if I notice a difference, see if it helps. So I can't refute it, and I can't confirm it either. Maybe it does. I don't know. But there's anything alkaline will automatically raise your blood oxygen. But there's more to it than just raising the oxygen in the blood. And I've learned these things. Again, I'm a work in motion here. I've learned things as 10 years has gone by. I'm on my 11th year of being cancer free, but I'm still learning how the body works and how to work with it. Okay, and alkalinity and oxygen are one part of it. Oxygen in the blood is great, but every athlete probably has oxygen in the blood, right? Yet we still have athletes that develop cancer. So what's that all about?
Right. Yeah, isn't there something to do with a lot of the lactic acid that they build up too? I'm sure there is, right?
It's true, yeah. But I mean, the acidity and the acid, yeah, you do build up lactic acid when you're exercising, but there's more to it than just that, But alkalinity does help compensate for some of the acidity we build up when we exercise. So it's a balancing act. But one of the things I've stumbled upon rather recently is there's a guy, I don't know if you've had him on your show, his name is Professor Brian Peskin.
We have. He's amazing, isn't he?
This guy is amazing. I mean, his mind is incredible. I don't agree with him on a lot of things he says, but he's like this one guy to me who stumbled upon something that was absolutely brilliant. And then he now he has the opinion, well, I'm an expert on all these other areas too. So
right.
While I admit that he's a very intelligent guy, and what he found out about the essential oils is absolutely accurate in my assessment.
Yeah, what do you think about that? We had him on, and we talked for a long time about the parent essential oils. And so the one we take is the one that he recommends, which is the
your essential supplements.
Yeah, Yes, or something it's called. And
right.
we like them, but to be honest, I don't feel any different, but I feel like... I feel like what he was saying, I really resonated with what he was saying.
Well, I think he's absolutely correct, and this is probably the biggest point I got out of it. Most of your body is, has the omega-6 oil present versus the omega-3, okay? If you look at the amount of present in your brain, your skin, your muscles, everything, mostly it's omega-6. Now, when all the cooking oils, like he says, are adulterated omega-6 oils. So we're getting omega-6 oils, but they're adulterated, so they're not transferring oxygen to our cells. So we have oxygen in our blood. We're aerobic. A lot of us, we exercise, we run or whatever. That oxygen is not necessarily getting into the cell. And I find that to be pretty consistent with what I see in society right now, because there's people who are very athletic who are developing cancer, and you say, well, how can they possibly get sick? Look how much they work out. But that's not the whole picture. It's great that they're aerobic, because certainly cancer and any sort of like a yeast or parasite or anything, they have to live in an anaerobic environment. So they've got half the equation right, but it's not the whole equation. I think he kind of filled in the missing point, at least for me, when he said, hey, these omega-6 oils actually transfer the oxygen into the cells. So if you don't have the omega-6 oils in their unadulterated form, you're not going to get the oxygen into the cell. And that absolutely made sense to me.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, I can't remember from doing the show with him. He said that the omega-6 oils, I'm not sure if he said it actually transfers the oxygen into the cell, or it allows the membrane of the cell to more easily be permeable so that the oxygen can get in. But in any event, that's kind of what it does. It brings the oxygen into the cell, which is where you want it.
Ironically, that's not actually what transfers oxygen in the cell. It's LDL cholesterol that does that.
Really?
Everybody, we've all been taught that LDL cholesterol is the devil, right? But his research showed that the LDL is actually the mechanism that transfers this omega-6 oil, with oxygenated omega-6 oil, into the cells. And so now we have all these people on statins. So it's true that it does drop the amount of LDL in the system, but there's less transfer mechanisms now to transfer whatever oxygen we have in unadulterated omega-6 oil into our cells. And if you look at the ratios of people right now, 1 out of 3 women will develop cancer and 1 out of 2 guys. So something dramatic is going on here, and this would explain a lot in my opinion anyway.
And go ahead.
Those are shocking statistics. I did not know it was that high. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at that, you go, wow, but, people, doctors try to make cancer like it's this very complicated, you have this type of cancer and this guy has that type of cancer. It's really not like that. It's about malignancy and how that comes to be in the body. And once you kind of learn about the mechanism, you're not as afraid of it anymore. At least I'm not.
Right.
Because I kind of know what's going on there. And I go, okay, well, if I keep this in check and keep that in check, I think I can control it. And knock on wood, it's been 11 years, or going on 11 years, so it's working.
Would you mind backing up to, Rod, and just telling a little bit about your story for the people who haven't heard the first episode?
Okay.
Awesome.
I was a general manager of an electronics company. Again, I say I had all the perks. I had the fifth floor corner office. I had secretary, I had an expense account. I had the underground parking. I was doing pretty good for myself, and I was very big on myself at that time too. But then, Rod, guess what? You have brain cancer. And then you realize all those things I just mentioned really count for nothing. It came down. What's important now? Well, me living, and I had 4 kids. That's what's important now. So it kind of puts things in perspective and certainly humbles you a lot. Yeah. At least it did for me. So anyway, I went through, I had the craniotomy. They removed the tumor. They go, good news, guess what? We got all of it. And I go, oh, that's awesome. By the way, you have to now do adjunctive therapies. Adjunctive therapies are chemo and radiation therapy, okay? I'm like, well, if you got all of it, why do I need this therapy? Yeah. Oh, no, you have to make sure, because it could come back and you could, And so I go, I undergo these therapies because my wife and my family were just like pushing me, because this is conventional. People are so brainwashed. And that's my mission in life now, to unbrainwash people, because people are so brainwashed. They're so certain that doctor, he has an answer. These doctors have no answers. I'm going to tell you what, as bad as you think it is, it's worse. These doctors don't have answers. But anyway, I underwent 19 sessions of radiotherapy. I did 3 months of chemo, and I was going blind. I was gray. Now, I'm not talking about my hair, because I didn't have any hair. My skin was gray. Oh. But the most important thing is I became depressed. And when you become depressed, you can't heal yourself. And I knew this intuitively, So I said, I'm done. I told my wife, I said, I love you, but don't ask me to do this again, okay? Because I'm not going to do it. And I walked away, and I told both my oncologist, my radiologist, I says, I'm done. This is not working. And so, okay, now what do I do, right? I know that's not working, so what do I do? So I start reading reviews and testimonials of people who survived cancer. And they all kind of had a theme, and I did natural protocols. And so I started interviewing these people. Well, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? And they all kind of, they didn't have the exact same answer, but they had similar answers. They had to invest in their health. They started exercising. They cleaned up their diet. They quit eating sugar and all these things. And so I started doing those things, and lo and behold, I survived as well. So it's not a magic formula. You don't have to be particularly smart to do this or anything like that. It's just stick to the program.
So what did your doctors say to you when you told them pretty much that you can take your thing and stuff it? What did they say to you?
You're going to die. I said, well, then I'll die. I had this one. Wow. And I can't mention her name, although I'd love to. She's this Greek doctor in Chicago, and she says, you will not be around to see your daughter's 8th grade graduation. And that was like in 6 months.
Oh, and, my gosh.
She was so spiteful and so overzealous towards me. And I was like, I couldn't imagine why somebody delivering that information to another human being would be so adamant and so mean. I mean, she was just flat out mean. And that told me something. That told me that she was hiding or lying or doing something that was unscrupulous, because why else would she be so adamant about it?
It's funny, because these doctors, they really do believe that. Like, they really think that what they're saying is true.
Well, here's the thing. There's no, they're always about, well, there's no statistical proof. Well, there's no statistical proof that their treatments work. If you go to my Healing Hut page, healinghut.net, that's my website. If you go to the first page, I'm looking at it right now. At the bottom of the page, I actually have statistics that I've gathered over like 10, 11 years for how many people are actually dying for cancer. Are they making any strides? Are they making any progress? And I can tell you unequivocally, the numbers are going the wrong way. It's not a matter of, they're making, hey, we're making steps. They're not making any steps. The numbers are getting bigger. And what they used to do is they used to have it right in the American Cancer Society report, but then after 2009, they took it out because they realized that people were seeing the trend and it wasn't good. So now the only place you can get the information from is the Centers for Disease Control, or the CDC. And they still produce a report called overall deaths, or all causes. And if you really dig there, then you can find these reports. And I'm very dedicated to this. So I actually put it together from like 2004 to 2013. And again, all the the numbers are going up.
Wow,
we went from like 22.9% of all deaths are caused by cancer. Now we're at 23.4%. And I still don't have, and this is the numbers for 2011. I don't have the numbers for 2012 or 2013 yet, because they actually delay reporting those things for 2 to 3 years. I have no idea why. I don't know if it takes that long to count up all the dead bodies. I don't know, but they actually delay those reports.
Wow.
And they make it very difficult. They put all this stuff in a 50-page report so the average person can't make heads or tails of it. And that's the strategy.
That's just crazy, and it's going to keep going up too. And like we talked about, I mean, with the more powerful cell phones and the more toxic foods and things, we really got to do a lot. We're going to take a little break here. We're with Rod Czlonka, and his website is healinghut.net, and I would highly encourage you to check it out, and also check out his books too. And if you want to listen to the interview we did with him before, that was episode number 172, so you can just go to extremehealthradio.com/172, and you can hear our first interview with him, and we'll be right back with Rod right after this break. Kate and I have had our sauna for about a year now, I'd say, when we first got it from Phil Wilson. And it's an incredible machine. We use ours about every single day. Kate sits in about 20 minutes, and I sit in there about for a half hour. Usually watch a documentary, and it's extremely relaxing. It's really, really an incredible machine. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/sauna, you can learn all about it. We did an entire hour interview with Phil Wilson. You can check that out. You can look at the pictures of us with it. You can watch videos on that page. It helps you to sleep really, really well. You can lose a lot of weight with it. You can burn, I think, around 600 calories in about 20 minutes or so. It improves your skin, increases circulation all over the body, and circulation is critical for your health. You can prevent and reverse diseases with it if you have a cold or flu. It's incredible. It heats you down to the core. It heats 4 to 6 inches inside your body, so it's really incredible. And a lot of people use it for cancer as well. So if you have any kind of incurable, quote, disease, you can use it for that. And Dr. Shade is the foremost authority on detoxification. And listen to what he says about it.
How do I detoxify from plastics? I mean, you guys are using a sauna, and what does a sauna do for us? A sauna is great, but it's moving a number of different toxins. Remember, we talked about the mice, that if you put PCBs in there, then that made the mercurial that much worse. And sweating moves out a lot of plastics, volatiles, fat-based toxins. It's really good at moving those out, sweating those out. So that's how you're getting those out, and those are contributing to this synergistic soup inside the body. And so that's why they're good, is they're taking out a bunch of the different things in the soup.
And Daniel Vitalis, one of our favorite guests. What do you have to say about the sauna?
When you go into the sauna, like a far infrared sauna like you discussed, your body goes into a deep relaxation mode, and your sympathetic nervous system shuts down and your parasympathetic nervous system turns on. And when that's active, that's the nervous system, part of your nervous system that's active when you meditate. That becomes active, and your detoxification pathways open up wide. Why is this important? It's important because when you go running and you sweat, you're not necessarily eliminating very much toxicity from your body. But when you sweat in the sauna, you eliminate a lot of toxicity from your body. So sweating in a relaxed state is how we eliminate. The other thing is that what's wonderful about the sauna is that it puts you in a parasympathetic nervous system response, like as if you were meditating. So it's almost a hack. It's like a trick to get yourself into a meditative, relaxed state, to decompress stress, to reverse the effects of stress, and to get your body eliminating deep, deep toxicity that's stored in your body fat, because it can come out in the oils of your skin. So I think, sauna is one of the most crucial detoxification, really health practices that we could take on, especially in this era of heavy toxicity, particularly fat-soluble toxins.
This sauna is really, really great. They offer payment plans because if you buy it through PayPal, it's 100% secure. You don't even need a PayPal account. I think you could do a payment plan through PayPal. It's got low EMF electromagnetic fields coming off of it. It's portable, so that means you don't have to knock down a wall in your house. You can just move it from room to room. It sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes. It's super easy to clean. All you got to do is wipe it down when you're done and wipe the neck down. And it produces energy and heat inside very, very evenly throughout the whole machine. All you have to do is sit in there for about 15 minutes a day. And the great thing I like about it too is it requires zero preheating. So you turn it on and you're starting to get warm and you're starting to detoxify with that far infrared light almost immediately. So it's really great. It comes with a 1-year warranty. It's about $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really, really a good deal because if you look at most of the regular saunas out there, they are in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So this is really, really good deal. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
And there goes the dancing again.
That wasn't dancing, that was picking.
That was
Picking parlor style.
So funny. So thanks everybody for joining us. This is episode number 198. So if you have any questions or you want to make some comments, you can go to that show page, 198. And as the lady said, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We'd love to have you a part of our community on there. And as I mentioned earlier, we also have our own brand new forum that we just launched on our website. So if you're interested in talking with other people, other listeners, and connecting up with them and talk about our show and talk about different health and healing modalities, feel free to go to extremehealthradio.com/forum and join the community that way. We'd love to have you part of that. And also, I wanted to let you know, too, each month this year, excuse me, we're going to be, it's our intention, I should say, to be doing a giveaway. And this month, for 2 more days, we're going to be giving away a free Squatty Potty. So if you're interested in that, all you have to do is sign up to our newsletter list to get that. And if you want to sign up and enter the contest, just go to extremehealthradio.com/win, W-I-N, and you'll be able to enter your details there and enter the contest for a chance to win that. So every month we're going to be doing a giveaway. So please sign up and be a part of that. And so we're with Rod Czlonka, and we're talking about cancer and his story with cancer and his diagnosis and everything going on with that. And Rod, I know before the show we talked, you wanted to talk a little bit about, during this segment, about some of these stories that have been going around lately, and I feel like they're going to get worse. I don't want to be a doomsday kind of person. But
with the numbers increasing, like we were just speaking about before the commercial.
Yeah, and with the genetics getting weaker and the parents passing on even weaker genes to their children, more and more kids are going to be diagnosed with cancer, leukemias, and these things. And the big story I remember about 10 years ago was the story about a kid named Billy Best. And he was a kind of a fugitive runaway. He did a couple rounds of chemo, kind of like you did, and said, "To heck with this! I can't heal this way." And he fled to Houston, I think, and it's all over the news. And I think you wanted to talk a little bit about that, didn't you?
Well, Billy Best was one of the stories. There was a guy named Star Child, Abraham Cherix. There's been a number of them over the years, and they all fought for the same thing: their right to choose their form of treatment. Okay, I can tell you as a parent, there is nothing sadder in this world than to watch a child receive chemotherapy. It's inhumane. Now, if by some wild stretch of imagination somebody could say, "Hey, look at here are the results we're getting. It's rough here, but we got to go through this rough patch to get to the cure." okay, I could accept that. I think any parent could. But the numbers simply do not bear that out. We were talking about that before the break. They are losing more and more and more people. Okay? Now, for some reason, the court system believes that these doctors, have a solution. But it's my belief that if people, and I'm talking about judges as well, really knew the truth, if they saw it laid out in black and white like I have here on my website, that maybe they'd look at that and go, hey, wait a minute, these doctors don't have any solutions. Why should I subject this family, this child, to this inhumane treatment that they don't want to go through anyway, if they don't want to go through it? Now, some people believe in conventional medicine. They say, well, this is what my doctor says. This is what I want to do with my child. Okay, that's their right. But however, for the other portion of the population says, I don't have any belief in or faith in this. I want to go a different path, and you could even say, hey, I want to, you could even require that they see a holistic doctor, somebody who's an MD, and that would be fine. But, there's a whole difference. I mean, who in their right mind would believe? Now, just think about this. As somebody who advocates exercising, eating right, and drinking plenty of liquids and maybe juicing as a form of treatment, that the person wouldn't get better to some level, right? I mean, you would have to see some improvement versus this person who just takes prescription drugs, doesn't move around a whole lot, and does not change their diet at all. Now, part of the problem is that the medical community will not admit to the idea that cancer survives on sugar. That's what it survives on. It thrives on sugar. It thrives on carbohydrates. But yet, when they do a PET scan, what do? I don't know if you've ever seen a PET scan or heard about them. They inject radioactive glucose into the patient, and they monitor where it goes. And where do you think it goes?
It goes directly to the cancer cells.
It goes right to the cancer, right? So they know the cancer. Cancer thrives on the sugar water. That's what cancer loves. They know this, but yet they won't acknowledge it from a medical standpoint. Yeah,
it's interesting because I've talked with people going through conventional cancer treatments over the years, and their doctors will even say to them that they need to cut out sugar. So they know this, just like you said, but it's interesting because they don't take that next step, do they?
Well, they don't. And if they had doctors who actually said cut out sugar, I'm surprised, because when I was going through it, and to be honest with you, I've never talked to somebody who had a conventional doctor that said, hey, no sugar. Matter of fact, I've had many people I talk to about diet, and they go and talk to their doctor, and the doctor says, no, you don't have to alter your diet at all. And that's a death rattle to those people, and so they look at it and go, why should I listen to this Rod guy when my doctor says I don't have to alter my diet? And you know what? It's such a pain to alter your diet. So heck with Rod. What does he know? So it's not about me. I'm just saying that's kind of the methodology they use. And because when I say, hey, alter your diet, that's a lifestyle change for people. And they just don't want to give up their Pepsis and their Cokes and their slushies and all that stuff. Why would they?
But Rod, isn't the main issue, or one of the core issues, in my mind, it seems like one of the main issues is what you were just talking about, how a patient would say, my doctor told me I don't have to cut out sugar. Why the heck should I listen to Rod? Right. And just in that statement alone, I feel like that's where the problem is. It's right there, because for some reason as a culture, I think we're training our children to be so subservient and so just looking up to the doctors. And I think that's where it starts with this indoctrination as a kid, doesn't it?
Well, it does. But more importantly, at what point does a parent lose control of their child's health and welfare? When does that occur? At what point does the law step in and say, oh, no, you no longer are responsible for this child because you're inept in your treatment of the child? When does that occur? Because we're trusted to make sure our kids are fed and clothed, and, they go to decent schools and we have a warm house for them or whatever. But yet when it comes to deciding their medical treatment based off of the knowledge you may have garnered during your career, oh, no, we can't, that's not applicable, okay? How does that work, So you just wonder, how did the connection between the medical profession and the legal profession, how did that ever come about? What makes a doctor any more prominent or important in his opinion versus the parent? How does that work? I don't understand it. But I do know this. The first case where a judge finds for the defendant is going to change the whole scope of the medical profession. And I'm just telling you that one single action, I could contest chemo and radiation until the cows come home, and I'm not going to get anything done, okay?
Right.
But if I could testify in a court case and tell people why this is the wrong thing to do, and a judge finds that relevant and says, you know what, that makes sense to me, or yeah, I believe that, because look at the numbers. When that happens, then the whole world's going to change.
So if a judge can be persuaded, I'm sure on a personal level they can be persuaded of that, outside their bond that they have and outside their legal profession. But, convincing a judge in a legal setting, wouldn't he be putting at risk his livelihood?
Well,
I guess he would, right?
Well, here, you're supposed to, the whole thing is there any doubt to an outcome, right? If there's any doubt, you have to find for the defendant, right? But how about this? To my knowledge, not that I've done anything special here, but I've never seen anybody grab all the data from the CDC and put it in one form that says, look, this is the mortality rate for people who undergo conventional therapies. Now, how do I know all those people who died went through conventional therapies? Because they don't track people who dropped out of their program with alternative therapies. So everybody that's on those statistics you can see on my first page were conventional cancer patients that died, period. Okay? So these numbers are going up. I think, and if I showed this to a judge, I showed this to a jury and said, listen, this is not working, okay? And I'm going to tell you something right now that I didn't even know for a few years after I survived cancer. The way it works, I'm sure you've heard the statement, when cancer comes back, it comes back with a fury. Have you ever heard that statement?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They got the chemo, they got the radiation, and they survived. And they, but the cancer came back, and it came back with a fury, and they just succumbed to it. And they gave them more chemo, and they gave them more radiation. It didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. The reason that is because when you give a cancer patient chemo and radiation, you do kill the cancer cells. You kill healthy cells. But some healthy cells, because they're stronger than cancer cells, they survive, okay? Well, these cells that have survived, they now start to multiply. And guess what? 5 years later, when they form into a tumor, you hit it with chemo and you hit it with radiation again, they're already immune to the effects of both those things. And so they just keep grinning and growing. Okay, and that's why it comes back with a fury, because we've already created this whole colony of cells that's immune to the treatment because they survived it the first time.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just heartbreaking when you see, I watched something just recently, a little YouTube story of this little girl who went through chemotherapy, and it was just heartbreaking because I watched it and I didn't know the outcome. I actually thought that she made it through, and I think she was about 8 years old and she ended up dying, and she had, I think, leukemia. But Rod, do you know anything about the statistics with children and the cancers and how well they fare and how many kids are coming down with cancer these days? Do you know
I don't, but the kids are going to be more. It's going to be more prevalent in kids even so than adults, and I'll tell you why. Because of our diets. Now, again, we're going to go back to alkalinity and acidity. Okay. Now, this is one of the things that Professor Peskin and I differed on, because he didn't believe that alkalinity had any impact on the oxygenation of the blood. He says, Rod, your blood is it regulates its own pH. Therefore, it doesn't matter what the diet looks like. And the reason I disagree with him on this, and just think about it, if you had a pond in your backyard, and I was pumping toxic waste into this pond, and I also provided a pump, and I said, here, don't worry about it, guys, because I'm pumping all those toxic waste out of the water, but I'm gonna pour them out onto the grass. So don't worry about them. Your water's going to be fine. Wouldn't you believe that after a while, all that toxic waste surrounding is going to start seeping back into the blood? I mean, you're not getting rid of it. You're just shifting it from one location to the other.
Yeah.
Well, that's what our body does. See, our body knows that it has to regulate your pH to 7.3. Okay, so it's doing that, but it's taking all the toxic waste and all the acidic byproducts, and it's storing it in your fat cells. And that's one of the reasons some people can't lose any weight, because your body can't afford to dump all that acidic waste back into the bloodstream, because it's going to vary the pH. So your body would rather be alive than thin. So that's why when you see people at the gym and they're pedaling their butt off and then they go get a big gulp on the way home, they're not losing any weight because they're acidic. When you're acidic, you can't lose weight. Your body, when you're alkaline, it's easy to lose weight. When you're acidic, it's very hard to lose weight.
That's so interesting. I never really thought about it. So the body, in its infinite wisdom,
redistributes
the toxins, and it knows that it can't spill those toxins out into the bloodstream, so it holds on to them. And I never really thought about it. So if the blood is alkaline, the body says, hey, I can get rid of these toxins from the fat cells and get them into the blood, and then you can get rid of them.
Exactly right.
Hey, Rod, we just had someone in the chat room ask, what are your thoughts on sweating out in the saunas if you're acidic?
I think, well, here's the thing. I don't think that's going to impact your body pH. I think it definitely will help with whatever toxins you have in your blood or in your body. Absolutely. Anything you can, sweating is great. You know, it's awesome. Again, I don't think it's going to vary your pH. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a little break here now. We're with Rod Czlonka from healinghut.net, and check out his books, Decide to Live, Surviving Cancer When Everyone Tells You It's Time to Die, and A State of Being, Healing Your Body and Your Life. And you can listen to our previous episode on 172. And if you'd like to support this show, you can always make your purchases through Amazon, and that's a great way to support us too. If you do regular purchases through Amazon, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon and check that out and support us that way with your purchases there. But we'll be right back with Rod Czlonka from healinghut.net right after this break. I have been a huge fan of rebounding for many, many years, and if you want to get in great cardiovascular shape, tone your legs, back, and butt, and stomach, as well as cleanse your lymphatic system from toxins and chemicals, you just have to start rebounding. It's imperative. And not only will it create endorphins that quickly become addictive to you, but it's very low impact as well. It helps to prevent sicknesses and diseases, as well as increase bone density, and it flushes toxins from your lymphatic system. It's amazing. And not only that, but it's a ton of fun also. I do it every single day for about 15 minutes. And we found the best rebounder on the market today in the world, bar none. It's called the Bellicon Rebounder. It's the Rolls Royce of rebounders, in my opinion. And let's listen to some of what our guests have had to say about rebounding. Robert von Sarbacher is a health researcher and creator of the Mini Beat Protocol. And Robert, what's your favorite exercise?
In general, probably one of the number one anti-aging exercises on the planet is rebounding. So 15 minutes a day is good for that. You can find people who have had thermography scans on cancers, giant tumors, and when they're doing a rebounder, it would start spewing out and shrinking right in front of your eyes, the tumor would, as they're on the rebounder. So it's really good for that sort of thing. It's also very good for exercising internal organs. It's the only internal organ exerciser that I know of known to man.
Dr. Lindsay Duncan is the CEO and founder of Genesis Today. And what's the best way that you think of to stimulate the lymphatic system of the body?
Rebounding is incredible because it's good for the lymphatic system, and there's more lymph fluid in the body than there is blood. And the quickest way and the most effective way to get the lymphatic system flowing is through rebounding itself.
Yeah, because the lymphatic system can't really detox itself, can it? I think you know.
No, the heart, we have the heart, thank you, for pumping blood. And we don't have a heart to pump lymphatic fluid. The only thing that really can pump lymphatic fluid is cardiovascular exercise utilizing the thighs, the thigh muscles. And that's why rebounding and getting a burn in that thigh muscle is so important for the flow and the stimulation of the lymphatic fluid.
Wow, and they even put cancer patients on rebounding, don't they?
Nutritionists do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not a conventional doctor. But yeah, I've been learning about rebounding lately. It's quite an amazing thing.
Yeah, rebounding's amazing.
Health researcher and author of Cancer Step Outside the Box, Ty Bollinger. What do you do in your life to prevent cancer?
What do you do to treat cancer? What do you do to prevent it? Rebounding is something that I try to do on a daily basis. A little mini trampoline for those people that aren't familiar with the term rebounding, but it's basically just jumping up and down on that little mini tramp. What that does is it stimulates the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is one of our primary detoxification systems in our body. And most folks don't stimulate their lymph flow, and so the toxicity in their body builds up because their lymph is not stimulated. And the up-down motion on a rebounder stimulates the lymph flow better than just about any other exercise. So I do that almost on a daily, probably 5 days a week. I would say I average doing that.
And finally, author and speaker and creator of the Longevity Now program, David Wolf. Do you think the Bellicon is the best rebounder on the market today?
Absolutely. I was just with the crew in Europe that does the Bellicon Rebounder, which is an incredible rebounder. My God, what a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't use metal springs. It uses like flexi ropes. So it's very soft and fun, and it's just great to play with.
Well, there you have it. The up and down G-force actually stimulates every single cell in your body. It's incredible. And as someone who works out in the gym a lot and does Qigong, I think that the best physical aerobic exercise, in my opinion, is rebounding. It's just absolutely incredible for the human body. And the Bellicon is silent, and it comes with a warranty, and you can get them in several different sizes and colors, and some of them have bars that you can hold on to in case you're worried about balance. It's a well worth it investment in your health and in your future. So check them out in our store if you'd like, or you can check out the videos on extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. That's B as in boy, ELLICON.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
All right, we're having a great time here with Mr. Rod Czlonka from healinghut.net, and it's just an honor to talk with him about his journey and all the things that he's learning about the acid-alkaline state of the body and oxygen transfer to the cell to prevent cancer. Good stuff. If you have any questions about that Bellicon rebounder, I just did my 15 minutes. I do 15 minutes a day. I did that this morning. It's a great way to wake up.
Yeah, you started early, huh?
Oh, yeah, about 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. It's just a great machine. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. Love to help you out in any way. I can't recommend that Bellicon enough. It's such a great tool for a lot of different reasons, as we talked about on the commercial. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And also, as the lady said, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter list if you'd like to win that Squatty Potty.
Mm-hmm. Couple more days.
Go to extremehealthradio.com/win, and you can enter the contest that way. And also, we'd love to have you join our forum, too. We talk about this show, our past shows, and all kinds of great stuff in our community forum. So look for the forum link on our website. And let's get Rod back. And so where were we, Rod, at the end of the last segment there about cancer?
Well, we were talking about the legal aspects of cancer as it relates to children and parents.
That's right.
Yeah. And I said that, if we could ever get a judge to really look at the truth, and certainly there's corrupt judges out there, but I got to believe there's some really credible people out there as well. And all it takes is one guy, because when you have that one court case, other attorneys can cite that case in the future. And again, it changes everything for all time. And it's just amazing that hasn't happened to this point, but it will.
So what happens with parents? They end up being strong-armed into giving their children chemotherapy, and if they don't, a lot of times they'll be put in prison, right?
Yeah, put in jail, brought up on charges, or the rest of their children taken from them. If you're somebody like me, I still have a daughter who's, my youngest is 14 years old. Heaven forbid I was in that situation. I said, absolutely not. What if they said, okay, we're going to take your older kids too? They couldn't. My kids are older, they're adults. But I'm just saying, for instance, you're going to look and go, God, well, I've got 3 other kids I got to worry about here, and I don't want to go to jail, so I guess I'm going to have to do it. But why should I be put in that situation, or anybody be put in that situation?
Right. Yeah, it's a truly a scary thing, because these people can take the kids away if you don't understand what's going on, and gosh, what a way to shatter a family just by wanting to give your child actually a better way to heal.
or doing what you think is best for your kids. Again, as a parent, you try to make sure they eat right, they dress right, they live in the right places or whatever. And now all of a sudden your opinion counts for nothing. Are they a ward of the state at that point? I have no idea what the legality at states, but somehow the medical community has gotten the legal community firmly in their back pocket. But again, that's going to change. It has to.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of times people are really into health, and it's funny because when you get into health, it's such a strange dichotomy because you can get into health and, you may first get into it because you want to lose some weight or, you want to look better in a bikini or something. But if you keep going down the rabbit hole and you get healthier and healthier and healthier, at some point you get to a place where we're talking about these types of issues now, and you start realizing that government and politics and the police and all this stuff, it really intertwines with health in such a fascinating way, and much more than people really realize, because there's things going on now with people in their home gardens. They can't grow their own food, and you really see how it pervades everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're making FDA raids on like organic milk farms and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right.
By what method? What thought process went into that? But again, it's almost you got to understand. I believe that the FDA is pretty much controlled. Matter of fact, they get about 50% of their funding from the pharmaceuticals. Now, if that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is. Okay, so it's infeasible for any of us to think that they wouldn't have an allegiance to the pharmaceuticals. So it's like they have a legal arm they have legal muscle to go after anybody who's offering something that might help people that they're not making money off of. So it's the most corrupt of systems.
Yeah, it's corrupt, but then if you look at it from their perspective, I can understand why, because they just have to keep kicking the can down the road. They can't have the entire system collapse. And I can understand from their perspective that they just have to uphold these absurd decisions by judges to put these people in prison. I mean, they have to keep the system running, but man, is it just so twisted and so backwards,
There's some thought process out there that says what I do in this life, I'm not going to be held accountable for in the future. But I can tell you that is not true. Everything we do to and for other people will be revisited for us. I'm not a religious person, but I'm just saying, if you believe in karma, if you believe about goes around, comes around, we cannot go out and arbitrarily and knowingly harm other people and hope that our life is going to be great. That doesn't work, okay? That never has worked and never will work, okay? I mean, certainly we make mistakes and we may inadvertently hurt somebody because of a mistake we made, but that's a whole different situation from knowingly giving people treatments that is going to either kill them or harm them, and then fighting to defend those on top of it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And so this is about credibility, and most Americans say, well, we have no credibility, we have no culpability, but you know what? We can. We can be the America we used to be. We're not now, but we could. I think people are at the point right now where they say, hey, we got to make a change because obviously this is not working.
Yeah, people seem to be waking up big time all around us, and the emails we get are really encouraging. There's a whole movement going on of people who are having the scales just fall off their eyes, I think, for the first time.
You hope so, right?
You hope so.
So, Rod, with your work, you're kind of more out in the real world than we are. We kind of talk to people like you all day long and interact with other people that think like us, and so we're kind of sheltered a little bit in a bubble. But in your experience, are people waking up? Are you finding that when you talk to people, when you tell people there's if someone just meets you and they don't know who you are, and somehow you get onto your story and you tell them about how corrupt the medical industry is, what happens typically? Do they agree with you, or do they just think you're a quack, or what?
1 out of 10 may take what I say to heart. 1 out of 10, maybe it's even higher than that. Maybe it's 1 out of 20.
Wow.
And there's certainly there's a circle of friends and people I know that say, "Oh, Rod, he's conspiracy nut or whatever," and I'm not. I just look at things and go, "Well, does this make sense?" And if it doesn't, I'm brave enough to say this doesn't resonate with what I believe or what I know, and I'll call those things to task. But again, that's a whole different thing from just going on with blinders and saying, "Hey, it's too horrible to even contemplate that happened, so I'm not even going to contemplate it." And it's not happening to me, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Until it happens to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I do see that a lot. I see people. And believe me, it was 2 years ago. I had this guy, and I knew him from the neighborhood. And he was a great guy, and his son developed cancer. And I knew his son, great kid, and but he got married to a woman who was adamantly opposed to any sort of alternative treatments. And so they actually had to sneak me over to the house to talk to him. And I'm talking to him, and I'm saying, this is what I did. Here, I give him a copy of my book. I give away so many copies of my book. So I'm not in this thing for the money. Obviously, if I can sell my books for profit, that's fine. But I'm into it to help people. So I'm giving him this copy of my book. I'm telling him about, and then the wife comes home. The whole tempo of the place changes. And she all but throws me out of the place. And I'm telling her, I says, this, first of all, he has this tumor on his chest, and I go, and she goes, well, we're going to have it radiated. And I go, let me tell you something. They tell you they can control the depth of the radiation. They can't. You'll have a lot of doctors who say we can stop it from going past a certain point in your body. That is a lie. Okay. Matter of fact, when they were radiating me, they said we're going to just pinpoint one side of your head, and there'd be a hole in my hair because I could see the hair falling out in the pattern. It'd be 3/4 of an inch on one side and be 2 inches on the other side of my head. The pattern where the radiation is coming through.
Wow. So the proof, right there.
Yeah. So they can't vary it at all. And I says, if they radiate this tumor on his chest, what's underneath this tumor? She thought about it. She goes, his lungs. I go, yeah, what else? Probably his heart. Yeah. Okay, so they're going to be radiating his heart and lungs. Do you think that's going to have an effect on his body? Well, yeah, no. They said they can, and it goes right back to, well, they said this, and I have a person at work who survived this, and that was like July 17th, and by October 14th, I was going to his funeral, and it was that quick, and it was crazy. I'll tell you another one, and this is it was a very famous one. You remember Randy Pausch? You remember that story?
Gosh, that name.
Yeah.
Professor Randy Pausch, and he had to do something called the last lecture, but it was his last lecture because he was dying of, I believe, pancreatic cancer.
That's right.
That is a powerful video, by the way. Right.
And so Oprah had him on, okay, and he gave his talk there. And I remember he's on the show, and it's like, I don't know, June, July, something like that. And he's doing push-ups on the floor. He's doing push-ups, and so I'm looking at this guy going, he's got his vitality, his brain's there, everything's going, And they go, yeah, and then they send Dr. Oz to go talk to the guy, and so Dr. Oz is talking to him, and then they announce that he's going to start chemo, and I think it was like September, October, that guy was gone. And so how do you go from being this guy, maybe he wasn't healthy because he did have cancer, but a guy talk and be vivacious and run around the stage to somebody who dies 3 or 4 months later? Is that natural causes? And yet they'll tell people, the cancer got him. The cancer didn't get him. The cancer treatment got him. Okay?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, when people say, I've had people say to me many times, are you not afraid about talking to people with cancer that you may, what if they don't survive? Well, there's a place for death in life. Some people are going to die. But the quality of life you have before you die, that has a value too, doesn't it? I mean, if you're bedridden and you're throwing up every day and you've lost your hair and you've gained, you look like you've aged 20 years, is that the way you want to go out? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's almost as if the medical industry just kind of discounts that and pushes that under the rug and focuses their entire thing at, live at any cost, and
right, instead of living well with what you do have.
Yeah. So you kind of completely radically transform your body into someone who's aged, like you said, 20 years, and but as long as you lived, for that 5 years, they can call you a success story,
But most people don't. So my point was, again, some people will die. There's nothing I can do about that. But how they live, that's where I can help. And I know in my heart that the people, just really embrace the protocol. They exercise. They drink good, clean water. They eat, juices of vegetables and fruits. get out in nature, walk, give thanks, work on your emotions. By and large, those people are going to survive. And those are the people that the medical profession doesn't talk about because, again, they've fallen off the radar as far as they're concerned.
So, Rod, just wrapping up the show here, I just wanted to ask you really quickly, if you knew someone who was just diagnosed with cancer, what are some of the more powerful things that you could recommend? I know you just talked about juicing and those types of things, which I think are incredibly powerful.
And the emotional, I'm sure, healing.
Emotional work. But what are some other things that you would recommend to somebody?
I'll tell you, alkalize your body. Again, if you want to buy an ionizer like I did, that's great. But when I was diagnosed, I didn't have an ionizer, so I just did it with green foods and green drinks. Okay? And anybody can do that. Take nutrition, especially there's a supplement called Laetrile, although it's vitamin B17. I don't know if you've talked to Edward Griffin about that, but B17 is found in like 1,200 different foods. For example, you can get it in blueberries, you can get it in sweet potatoes. There's the whole list of those things outlined in my book. So it's a very, very easy thing to get, although these are foods most people don't eat anymore, so it's not really prevalent in our body. But again, we want to stop taxing our pancreas, because what happens is those pancreatic enzymes that usually help kill the cancer cell are now going towards digestion because we're eating so many processed foods. So the system we originally had in our body is no longer working because our pancreatic enzymes are being used elsewhere in the body, and that's the big challenge. So as you simplify your diet, your pancreas will come online again and start producing those pancreatic enzymes that are so critical to destroying the cancer cells. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, you can read about this in my book. If you get the book, World Without Cancer from Mr. Griffin, completely outlined, and there's a lot of books about that. Cancer, Why We're Still Dying to Know the Truth by Philip Day. Those are all books that I grabbed when I was going through this. And so I learned from those guys. I certainly didn't think this all out myself, but I was a really good student. I learned from everything they had to say. Yeah, it's imperative, I think, for people, especially these days, to really take a proactive approach to healing cancer, because actually preventing cancer, because with people, we have cancers in our body all the time. Absolutely, cancer. That's the other big thing. Doctors will tell patients, "Oh, you have we got to get those cancer cells out." Your body makes about 5,000 to 10,000 cancer cells a day. Your body already knows how to deal with cancer cells. It's nothing new.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Well, so but that's the big thing. People are scared into succumbing to their treatments.
Justin always asks at this point, wrapping up, what are some possible things you've been working on, or if you have any new books coming out. Personally, I think you need to write a book called The Sexy Almond, but that's just me.
Sexy Almond. Only you and I would buy it, though.
But we would love it.
But seriously, no, I'm working on, one of the things I'm working on, too, is because what stress does is shuts down your whole immune system, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, and there's certainly a lot of environmental toxins, dirty electricity, all sorts of things going on right now. So I'm actually working on products that you can wear that will actually lessen the effect of these energies on our body. You're never going to alleviate them. I'm certainly not talking about miracle anything. I'm talking about through scientific technologies that work to lower the amount of environmental, electrical, and dirty electricity stress that we have on our body. Because when we do that, we become healthy through attrition. Wow. And those are some of the things I'm going to be marketing here in the next few months, matter of fact.
Oh, I love it. Great. I love it. Yeah, that's a big deal. We talked about that more in our first show, the electromagnetic fields that is breaking down the blood-brain barrier in the brains. And we were actually just talking about that yesterday with Anthony Morocco, who's put together a raw vegan hair care product, and I was surmising at the beginning of the show, based on our conversation, that what are people doing when they're using cell phones and they're breaking down the blood-brain barrier from preventing toxicity from the blood from entering their brain, and then on top of that they're putting chemicals on their scalp that will go directly to their brain. So I think there's going to be a connection in the coming years between with brain cancers and things, but I'm glad to see that you're working with that as well.
Justin, it's amazing that you know that cell phones open up the blood-brain barrier. That's kudos to you, because not many people know that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and, I think we talked about this. I can't remember who I hear what from, but, in children, it's really a big deal because their blood-brain barrier is not even completely formed yet, you know.
Not only that, what's going up into your brain that is not supposed to be there because the blood-brain barrier is now open? What else is going on there? So that explains the rash, or that's partial explanation for the rash of brain tumors we're now seeing, well, not just in adults but children.
Yeah, it's going to be prevalent. So,
well, keep us posted on your products, Rod, as you continue to what word am I looking for?
Develop
Bring
them.
forth.
Yeah.
I'm going to do better than that, guys. I'm going to send you 2 of them as soon as I go into production.
Oh my gosh! Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Well, thank you so much for being on again, and really appreciate the work you do, and hopefully you're staying warm.
Call me in 3 months and we'll have another conversation.
Yeah, maybe we should do a show from Bermuda or something, you know?
Hey, if you guys want to fly me to any exotic location, I'm game.
You'll be the first on the waiting list.
Oh, that'd be great. Well,
okay, guys.
Thanks, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Wow, so that was awesome, wasn't
Mr. Rod Czlonka.
it? Yeah.
I think he knows a thing or two. What do you think?
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's
I do
really
too.
great.
Yeah.
I'm interested. He's got that. If you go into healinghut.net, he's got some stuff that he's doing with 0-point technologies and pendants and things like that.
I saw that. I was on there a minute ago.
Yeah, I think he's really turned on to everything. I mean, he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
It's funny, out of necessity, when you go through something like this, he probably never would have thought he would have delved so deeply into this whole matter, but when something, until it becomes personal,
I know,
and you realize
right?
how much you care about it all, and look at what he's done. Look at, what everyone we've had on the show has done just because of someone they know or personally had an experience, and we all just want to live healthier, better lives. It's amazing.
Cool. It's cool because, when he was saying he's not in this for the money, I mean, sure, he's got a website, he sells some things on there, but I mean, if he was in it for the money, he wouldn't be, he's a full-time computer guy.
Exactly.
And he
Selling
does
electronics
sells. Yeah, he's in electronics, and I mean, that's how he earns his living. And so, but I was looking at his website and just thinking about the conversation we had yesterday where, if he helps one person to live, I mean, that could literally change the course of human history.
It could.
Because, like we talked about, the trickle-down effect, what if that one person who was supposed to die ends up living, and they have a child that was never supposed to be born.
Right.
And that child...
Or they write a book that was never supposed to be written. To help thousands of people and those children that were never supposed... I mean, it continues. The cycle just goes and goes and goes. You almost can't go there, but it's amazing to dream about and wonder about.
I mean, the possibilities... I bet that's what the whole quantum thing is all about, the quantum universe, quantum world, and all that, and how there's different universes. I bet all those different universes that exist are the possibilities of what could have happened had, you
taken that right turn, or had you had
you married this person instead of that person, or had Rod not built his website, saved that one person ends up being the president of the United States, or God knows what. It's crazy.
Oh, I love that thought. Isn't that fun to think about?
Yeah, it is.
I know.
But then your mind just kind of burns out. You don't know what to do because it can't. It's too many possibilities.
It's like that movie Sliding Doors. Did you ever see it with Gwyneth Paltrow? Great movie.
No, I feel like I've heard about it.
It's really good. She's a great actress in that movie, and it's just about it's basically. It finds her on her journey at a certain point in life, and she's making one decision, and then they split the movie into 2 different scenarios and play them side by side about what would have happened had she taken this road, what would have happened had she taken the other road, and it's just same thing. It's entertaining, but it also shows on that quantum level what could be going on, and it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
That's cool.
Just reminded me of that. But
the question is, how many times did they split it? Did they split it like 10 times?
No, just twice.
20 different scenarios.
Right. That would be a movie that would last for eternity.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
It's just the thoughts that start to come up when you just think about things like that, or read a book on that, or talk to a person, or watch a movie. It just starts to open up your mind to other possibilities.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Just want to let you know that you can always listen live and chat in our chat room during the show.
Which I am manning.
Yes.
One hand one-handedly manning.
That's right. And that's at extremehealthradio.com/live. Mm-hmm. And I also want to let you know about our forum that we have. Just launched it. And if you're listening to this and you would like to join other listeners of this show and talk and join the community, lots of great people in the forum already. I think we just launched it and there's 100 people already talking about stuff.
So neat.
Yeah, and so you can talk about your experiences or how this show's helped you or whatever your health journey. If you have questions, there's some super knowledgeable people in that forum. And you'll see the links to that on any part of our website. And this month's giveaway is going to end tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
We have one more full day tomorrow.
31st. Mm-hmm. By the way, I looked at the clock. It's 10:10.
Of course it is.
Double numbers. Always. Always double numbers. And on the other clock, it's 10:09. So it was just, I was meant to see
that was
clock.
Meant for you on your watch. Oh.
So yeah, if you want to join the newsletter list and enter the contest, we're going to be doing one every single month. Hopefully that's our plan. Mm-hmm. And this month is a free squatty potty. So you have another day to get entered into that contest. And it's a 7-inch bamboo squatty potty, which is the premium one. And it's, I think, sells for about $80 on their website. So you can sign up and enter. And then when you do that, if you share it with your Facebook friends, there's a 4-step process. And if you do that, you can earn more points and increase your percentage chances of winning that. So,
are we going to announce that on the next Free for All Friday live?
We should.
I think we should. It'd be like a little dun-da-da-da moment.
Yeah, that would be really great.
Let's do that, and then we'll contact the person on the side, too.
That would be awesome.
Okay.
So thanks, everybody, for joining us on this episode 198. And again, if you're interested in his previous show we did with Mr. Rod Czlonka, that is 172, and this one's 198, so you can always leave your comments on those pages. Anything else to get to?
We love you guys. We're so happy to be back, and it feels good to be in the swing of things again, and just really honored to be journeying alongside everyone. So thank you for spending your time with us, and we'd rather, seriously, I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else than doing this.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
It's good for my soul.
Yeah, it's good, and such a great community we have, and
it's exciting.
Lots of people that are so knowledgeable. Like people doing enemas, extreme enemas with yoga trapezes upside down.
Which we will talk about on our next free-for-all.
Yes, that's amazing. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. And if you'd like to support this show, keep the show free for everybody, check out our store. We've got lots of great products on there. My goal is to add some more products on a regular basis, but we've got about 40 or 50 products on there now. Great stuff. Great
all
stuff.
Things that we completely back and believe in. So we back them up 100%.
Yeah, so it's just amazing stuff on there. And we also accept donations, too, if you want to keep the show free. Everything that we provide to you is free. We exist based on your support and your givingness to us. So thank you so much to all of you who have donated. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. It helps to pay the bills, and just so greatly appreciated. So if you'd like to donate, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/donate and send anywhere from $1 to however much you want. So that would help pay the bills. But in any event, we're here to help you, and we're here to help you find any information you need or help you on your health and healing journey. So let us know if we can help. And I think that's about it, right?
I think so. I'm going to go eat some sexy almonds.
I never thought an almond would be sexy.
I didn't either until Rod Czlonka said it, and I love it.
I love it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information on this podcast or in this blog, or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here